Hello and welcome to another episode of Skeptic TV. We have been away for a few shows, but now we're back and hopefully better than ever before. Joining me on this week's show, we have Blue Juggernaut. Say hello, Blue. No, Blue's not going to say hello. We have CS Bear.
Hey, good to see you guys again.
We have Dutch Liam 84.
Hey guys.
Ellie
Marine
Fire
biology.
1991.
Hello, Tyrannosaurus Alan.
Drink. And we have Yoshimo 1.
Hello.
And for our special guest this week, we have Chill T.
Hello, everybody.
And as ever, doing the technical wizardry and making the show happen is Colin Masson. We have a new addition to the show, starting from this show. We have a news item at the start of the programme. I believe Lewis is going to kick us off with regards to our top story this week being the assassination of Osama bin Laden.
We killed the fucker. Yay.
I was hoping for more detail than that, but...
Okay, well, that's what I was about to get to. So, apparently, the thing is that right now, there's a bunch of conflicting stories. Apparently, no one in the White House can get their story straight as to how we killed the son of a bitch. They say that, like Obama said that... So Obama says one thing, another group of people say that he was like using his wife to defend himself. Another person said that he went out guns ablaze, shooting at the people, and he just got his ass shot. I believe they say that he died of lead poisoning to the face. And but the thing is that this is the whole fact that they have not released the pictures of his dead body, the fact that they apparently threw the body. They threw the body over the, into the ocean like a sea burial or whatever.
Yeah, it's a burial at sea.
Yeah, it's raising up a bunch of nut job conspiracy theorists and making them all think that we didn't really kill him. Or another personal favorite of mine that they think that he's already been dead for a while, but they decided to use it now for political motives, which is kind of stupid because. You honestly don't think that if we caught him or killed him during the George Bush years, he would have been like, I told you we would have caught that son bitch, and we did. So, that's that.
See, this to me doesn't make an awful lot of sense, the idea that this is supposed to be some big cover-up whereby the fact that we haven't produced photos means that he's not really dead. It would surely, or at least to my mind, it would make more sense if pictures were forged. Showing his death, because if you are trying to create a hoax, they're doing a rather piss poor job by actually making it look like one. I think they've said that they will release the pictures in due course. Obviously, they're not out yet, but then people look at the moon landing photos and they claim that those were doctored and therefore it's a hoax. And surely it would be more of a smoking gun if, for instance, they hadn't brought any photos back from the moon and said, "Yep, we went there. It's all dusty."
People also think that that the death of Osama was forged to or created to distract people from Obama's birth certificate thing, which he released that same week, which is stupid, especially people like Micah who say it's obviously forged, because he's an expert on birth certificates and forgeries, I'm guessing. So they think it's something to distract people from that. It's also, that's pretty much it. People are just fucking dumb.
Yeah, I would say the good thing, at least about Obama this week, is that there really isn't any any controversy around it. That's a genuine birth certificate. He's definitely American. There's
not just that, but the fact that when Osama bin Laden stops making videos, like when he can't release anymore, that's going to be proof that he's dead.
Yes, although Osama hasn't actually made or released any videos for, I think, years now.
He probably would make one if he was still alive. And
how many subscribers does he have?
How many subscribers does he have? I don't know. Last time I checked, he made a video saying that people don't like him. Oh, wait, no, that wasn't.
Saying, leave Osama alone.
Yeah, leave Osama alone.
Oh, no, that's a drink, isn't it?
Oh.
I walked into that one, didn't I?
Drink.
It's even been 5 minutes, and half of our audiences could be unconscious.
Well, that's like every show. But yeah, sorry everyone.
Osama bin Laden kind of looks like a skinny version of my dad with a beard. It's kind of scary. Maybe
So
a few
so if you ever did want to, I don't know, forge some video footage or something, we now know the actor to play Osama.
Well, no, my dad's too fat now.
I suppose they'd have to use Photoshop.
That good old Hollywood magic.
Yeah.
AKA liposuction. Oh, liposuction. The joke's dead. I ruined it.
Stop it! You'll injure yourself. But yeah, so I suppose we are still awaiting those pictures, but I think it's fair to say that a lot of the conspiracy theories are the same old trash that we've seen paraded around on just about everything else now.
Yeah, it's just people who never want to accept the truth about anything. I mean, it's good to be skeptical, but being too skeptical is just fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
There is also the question of why it's taken them 10 years to do this. If he were still alive and they wanted to show that he was dead, they could have done it a lot earlier.
Well, not just that, but if we were, yeah, exactly, we could have just lied about it back then. What's the point of lying about it now? Especially, why would, a lot of people think like, oh, Obama's numbers are so bad. He did this to boost his numbers. I'm like, why the fuck would he do it in 2011? It would be much smarter for him to do it like 3 weeks before the election in 2012. Boom.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, Obama is actually looking like the most awesome president in the history of the world simply because everything's coming out roses for him.
Colin, you should post one of the pictures of Obama being a badass that I posted.
Well, there's people.
Is it the one that says, "Sorry guys, sorry it took me to sorry it took me so long to release my birth certificate. I was too busy killing Osama bin Laden," with him wearing sunglasses and pointing at the audience.
I should say for the benefit of viewers, the picture now on Blog TV has been photoshopped.
Yeah, that seems like.
My favorite one is the one where Prince William says, "I got a wedding," and then Obama wearing sunglasses says, "I got a funeral."
Oh God.
It's also worth saying that al-Qaeda has now confirmed, or at least they've released a statement saying that Osama bin Laden is dead. And I suppose a cynic could say that al-Qaeda somebody has pretended that they're from al-Qaeda and have released this statement simply to try and make it look more convincing, or that al-Qaeda would be more than happy to make that claim because it gives them grounds for retaliation.
It's the Illuminati, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
In my personal opinion, it's Paul McCartney.
I knew it.
What, you think Paul McCartney's Osama bin Laden, or Paul McCartney killed Osama bin Laden, or you think okay?
Paul McCartney killed Osama bin Laden to make up for the conspiracy theory that he was dead since 1966.
I love all the people who are saying all the conservatives here in Texas, obviously where I live, all the ones who are like, this was Bush's victory. I'm like, are you?
Oh, that's the thing that pisses me off the most out of all these little
because first of all, think about it. It could be easily argued that if Bush would have paid some fucking attention to the memo he got a month before 9/11, saying that bin Laden was determined to attack America, 9/11 may not have happened. Now we can't say that for sure it couldn't, but that's just an assumption.
Yeah, but we know Bush can't read.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, I just took a drink, so anyone on the chat has got a drink. Yeah, but I saw a video this morning. It was, I think it was on a Fox News, the GP debate between Herman Cain and Rick Santorum.
Oh, not Santorum.
But they went to a room of 29 people who had obviously been taught what to say. But about 3/4 of them said it was, well, Obama didn't deserve any credit for the killing of Osama bin Laden. And I heard somewhere, I don't know who told me this, but they blame Obama for the last 2 years of debt for the nation, when it was Bush's, it was Bush that basically started it. But Bush gets no blame for that. But now that Obama's continued Bush's Pakistan thing, then I'll give Bush all the praise. And it's all that sort of hypocrisy of basically blame Obama for anything bad that happens and praise George Bush for anything good that happens.
You just described a regular news day on Fox News.
The thing is Obama is the thing is that you guys didn't know this. George Bush left office to go hunt down Osama bin Laden himself, and he did. He was most definitely winning.
Yes.
There's tiger's blood in that one.
Tiger's blood.
That's 2 drinks.
Can anybody explain the graph currently on the screen?
Let me take a look.
Oh, okay. Then. Oh, wow, that's some recession.
Yeah, we're completely screwed over.
There's a surprise.
The picture on Blog TV at the moment, the one with Obama with his glasses on point.
Well, that's now gone, but we can bring it back.
It's not gone. I can still see it.
Yeah, that's because your Blog TV's hung. You need to refresh, but it's back now.
Yeah.
Oh.
But, sorry. It's actually telling a lot of truth there. These conservatives want Obama to do so fucking much. There's only so much he can do at one time. I mean, he's the president. It's not the simplest job in the world, is it?
Absolutely. They don't want him to do that much. They just want him to die.
Yeah, that's true. They'd rather have him out to the White House, you know.
Yeah, they'd just rather have him get killed. They just rather
May I say something?
Yes, please.
From what I've seen, no matter what President Obama does, it doesn't matter to some people because they're not going to focus on what he does. They're going to focus on what he's not doing.
Yeah, well, that's true of any politician.
If he does this, then they'll say, well, why weren't you doing this?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, does anybody know the latest on Obamacare? Whether or not...
Actually, this is what's so funny to me. This is what is so funny to me. The Republicans, when Obama was trying to bring up the whole, was trying to get his health care reform passed, right?
Yes.
These Republicans were like, he's going to destroy Medicare and Medicaid, blah. And, that's how they riled up their base. They were like, oh, Obama's going to fuck with your Medicare and your Medicaid. The government-sponsored health care for poor people and old people and poor people. And now the Republicans are like, we need to get rid of these programs to cut the deficit.
Mm-hmm.
And the Republican and the sheeple that are the Republicans are just like, oh yeah, they're right. I'm like, what the fuck? Are these people really that dumb?
Everything's partisan to them. Sorry, I can't speak today. No matter what he does or how he does it, they're going to complain.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And they're going to call him. Donald Trump called him the worst president ever, I think.
But remember last year when the Republicans were doing that little policy of theirs where they filibuster everything, literally everything, just to make the president look bad? They kept saying, well, why doesn't he do some bill? I don't remember what it was, but why doesn't he do this bill? This would help the economy. And Obama just said, fine, I'll introduce that bill. And when he introduced it, the Republicans filibustered it.
Fucking assholes.
I do love that little bit of propaganda that was flashed up on the screen a second ago, which shows Obama in African dress, but also with the communist hammer and sickle. And not saying Africa's not particularly well known for its communist ideals.
Well, it's also like the Tea Party isn't racist, not at all.
Yeah, but then foreign people, they all think the same.
There is no Tea Party anymore. They've fucked off. They've completely disappeared off the map.
They've run out of
no, they're still there because Michelle Bachmann's still in power, and she's
the only Tea Party left, and she's just got some imaginary base behind her. Sarah Palin's just shit.
I really wish that Michelle Bachmann would get nominated. That would ensure Obama would win in 2012.
Oh, and speaking of Obama's birth certificate, Orly Tate's the so-called birther queen who kept bringing all these lawsuits into the courts trying to prove that Obama's from Kenya or whatever. This guy on the news, she went on a news show, and he's like, well, now that he's shown his birth certificate, do you accept that? And she refused to even then accept that he's a citizen.
I believe that was Lawrence O'Donnell, wasn't it?
Yeah, Lawrence O'Donnell.
So when are we going to get to the circular reasoning thing, or are we going to put that off?
We're going to get to that in a minute. We've got the news to go through first of all.
We're discussing politics.
Oh, okay.
If we're all finished, then we can move on to our second item we had lined up for today.
Whoa.
I want to ask, what do you think about? No.
Go ahead, please.
I mean, Fox News just ran a GOP debate, if you can call it that. Herman Cain and Rick Santorum. Who do you think's going to run GOP presidential candidate?
Like I said, I would hope that.
Run?
Well, I can't take Santorum seriously ever since I've discovered what his name is now slang for. So,
honestly, though, I honestly, and this is, I know you guys are going to say this is biased because I'm a Democrat, but I honestly can't see any of the most likely people to win the Republican nomination. I honestly can't see any of them beating Obama in 2012 for the reason that they are way too conservative. They cannot appeal to the moderates because most of them are like off the deep end. The problem that I see with this country, or the politics in this country recently, is that the Democrats have moved to the right, like the center almost now. Like they're almost getting to the conservative point. And the Republicans have moved into like this crazy off the deep end conservative side. And that they can't appeal to anyone.
But the thing is, there are people who will listen.
Yes,
to them.
yes, but they appeal only to the Republicans. They can't appeal to the moderates.
It's America.
The problem is Republicans are great at marketing, and so people will still listen to them, even if the craziest of the crazy people are.
Or they could just do. Or they could just do it, George Bush, and just rig it.
Oh, that works.
Donald Trump's going to run, I reckon.
That's so funny to me.
Oh, he's totally running.
He had a bit of a slip of the tongue in one of his interviews recently. He said, "I'm running as a Republican. I'm going to run as a Republican. I might run." It's like, you are running, basically, aren't you?
Well, up till now, so far, at least that I've seen, Donald Trump has the highest approval rating of all the Republican candidates.
Which is funny because if you look into his history, he's a fucking douchebag.
He's an idiot, yep.
What would qualify him as a president?
Nothing.
He was born in America.
The fact that he's got a lot of money.
The fact that he filed for bankruptcy 3 times in 6 years.
The fact that he said, "You're fired."
Although it would be cool if he was president, have him like, launch a nuclear missile at someone and say that when he's like, "You're fired."
Or even better yet, we elect him president, and then the next day we impeach him and tell him that he's fired.
The thing is about today's culture, it's all a celebrity culture at the moment. That's why he's even got a chance. The fact that people just obsessed with celebrity and personalities. It's not about politics.
I just remembered another funny thing.
If that's the case, we should make Justin Bieber the president of the United States.
Whoever said that, I'm taking you from the call right now.
Justin Bieber's Canadian. He can't be.
Oh, that's too bad.
Rebecca Black.
Oh, God, no.
The first female president of the United States, Rebecca Black, because it's Friday. And she's looking forward to the weekend.
There was just because we've got Donald Trump on the screen at the moment, there was a great moment. I thought somebody wrote into my newspaper and said that he refused to believe that Donald Trump's hair was American, and he would not rest until he saw the long-form receipt for it.
Drink.
Another thing that reminded me of that I just remembered. Republicans were freaking out about Obama possibly not being born in America. But in 2004, they were trying to change the rule that you had to be born in America so that, what's-his-face, Arnold Schwarzenegger could run for president.
No, we are not having Arnie as president.
What do you mean we?
If Arnie does become president, I'm going to be the first person to volunteer for the suicide mission to Mars that NASA are currently auditioning for. I think that would be quite a good thing to do. They're looking for people to go to Mars in the knowledge that they will not be coming back because it's too complicated.
Well, you die, but at least you'll be famous.
So yeah, about a 2-year journey, I think it is, to Mars in a tiny little capsule, and then when you get there, you walk around, you take some measurements.
Dude, I would beat the shit out of the person who was supposed to be the first person on Mars, and I would just jump out in front of him. Like,
It would be cool, I think.
was the first on Mars.
You do if you knew you were going to die there, you do the Total Recall thing of smashing your helmet open on a rock and then exploding.
No, that's a horrible fucking way to die.
Better than starvation, I think.
Cyanide capsule, motherfucker. Fuck that.
Yeah,
shit.
that would be better, actually.
Dude,
You could just wait for your
how
oxygen. You could just wait for your oxygen to run out so that you just suffocate. That's not
That's
as
true.
bad.
Asphyxiation is actually probably the nicest way to go.
I doubt that.
Yeah, 'cause there's some places that are selling suicide kits now that it's just a mask that you put on and it just fills up with helium.
I have a good idea now.
No, you're not allowed to do that.
No, we should start selling those to people who think that the rapture's on the 21st or whatever.
So what? When people are arrested for attempting suicide and they say, "Why did you do it?" They're saying, "I don't want to go on living anymore."
Somehow inhaling helium seems a lot less dramatic than cutting yourself.
It's funny,
Also a lot
too.
less painful.
What do you mean arrested for trying to kill yourself?
It's attempted suicide is an illegal offence.
In the
You could
UK?
put him-
It's certainly in the UK. I think it is in the US as well.
Yeah, my
In the,
mum's
U-
arrested
in the
quite a-
US, they'll put you.
I can't believe
in
that. I can't believe that they are genuinely selling suicide kits.
Well, in the US, they just force you to go to like a mental clinic or something.
Yeah.
It's not like you'll go to jail.
But they're selling
No,
their
we-
suicide kits on a website.
We force you to change your screensaver so it plays only Nephilim-free videos.
Well, that'll force suicide. That won't stop it.
Yeah.
DPR said not anymore in chat. I think he might mean it's no longer illegal to attempt suicide.
But why would it be illegal? What are they going to do if you succeed?
I've never quite understood that. Yeah, because it's a kind of a
Throw his corpse into prison.
victimless crime.
Throw the corpse into prison. Have it get all those criminals.
No, you get a death sentence for attempted suicide. If we're all wrapped up and done, I'd quite like to move on to the story I had lined up for today.
Yes,
Sounds
please.
fair.
But you'll have to brace yourself for a really corny link. Because from
hell.
from chilled tea to the subject of hot coffee.
Drink.
This is basically the cover article.
Oh
that
my god.
I did warn you.
Oh.
Wait,
This was the main article in this month's Chemistry World magazine, of which I'm a subscriber. I've put a link above the chat if you want to go and look at the article online. Basically, they were looking at the long argued history of whether or not coffee is good for you.
It's good for the soul.
The great thing about Chemistry World is that unlike the mass media, they reference all their sources, and unlike the mass media, they're far too diffident about drawing solid conclusions of saying coffee will kill you or coffee will make you live forever. Basically, the kind of the two opposing arguments. One is that that coffee is full of antioxidants, and that's the same picture that they used in the article. I don't know whether or not you nicked that from their column. Yes, one argument being that it's the antioxidants in coffee that will help protect you against degenerative diseases, things like cancer. And then the opposing argument to that is that coffee contains several different carcinogenic compounds, things like acrylamide, which is another one which has been in the news quite a lot recently, and things like burnt toast. I thought that probably the best place to go to try and see what the media have to say about it is the Daily Mail.
No.
The Daily Mail is famous. There are two Facebook groups devoted to this. One is the Daily Mail list of things that cause cancer. The other is the Daily Mail list of things that cures cancer. I think there's actually a third list I think, of things which are on both lists.
Everything causes cancer.
Just looking here, one of my favourite things that is supposed to cure cancer, according to their list, is shark blood. So Charlie Sheen's got it wrong drinking tiger blood.
What about? Oh, God damn it! You beat me to the tiger blood.
But Yeah, I couldn't help myself. But I've pulled up that caffeine is actually on their list of things that causes cancer, and I've pulled up the article for that. And it's got what I think is one of the best quotations that they've taken from an expert.
Not fast. Not fast.
This is from Dr. Marcus Cook, who is, they don't actually list this in the article, but he is a lecturer in oxidative stress, or rather he's a researcher in oxidative stress at the University of Leicester. And part of his interview with the Daily Mail, he said, although there's no evidence at all of a link between caffeine and cancer, we're putting two and two together and saying caffeine can induce these changes, and in other words, genetic changes, and it has been shown that these changes are elevated in leukemia patients.
I thought they just said there was no evidence.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the studies that they've commissioned a study on the back of this, and I think that's ongoing, basically looking at how much the article in question was that pregnant mothers who drink a lot of caffeine are more likely to have children that develop leukemia, and I think they're doing a sort of a long-term study in monitoring how much certain mothers drink during pregnancy and then the incidence of leukemia in their children. But it does make you leukemia. But it does make you laugh that one of the first things that this expert says is that there is no evidence at all of a link between caffeine and cancer.
Oh, thank God!
And then go on. This isn't some crackpot. This is a recognized lecturer, a recognized expert at a qualified university in the United Kingdom. But then he goes and basically does this rather ham-fisted putting two and two together and coming up with caffeine might cause cancer.
That's the thing that bothers me, is that there's no reason to believe that this is true, but he's going to anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't seem very professional in his capacity, although he's not an oncologist. I think it is just that he does study oxidative stress within cells, and it is true that caffeine, at least in theory, will increase oxidative stress.
Ouch.
Nephilim Free is a recognized expert, recognized by the YouTube users. Another thing that made me laugh about this article, actually, this is the Chemistry World article, and they're fairly good, but they're still not as good as the peer-reviewed literature itself. But they've talked about evidence that the antioxidants in coffee are taken up inside the body, that they are absorbed. And the way in which they've done this is by measuring their levels in urine. And what it seems to me is that, yes, these compounds are being absorbed very readily, but they're also being excreted very easily because they're in high levels in the urine. And they think that even the liver might be very good at removing them from the bloodstream. So it doesn't seem like there's actually an awful lot of good to be had in this. And what else did they say? They also said that if you are going to drink coffee for its health benefits, then you should either go for decaffeinated coffee, simply because the antioxidants are more concentrated, which for a lot of people defeats the whole point, really, because people don't drink coffee for its health benefits. Most of them drink it simply as a pick-me-up.
Alan, where did you get that picture of me?
It's not a recent photo, though, is it?
Fuck you.
Or maybe it's a future photo.
It's a future photo. How the fuck did you do that?
But they
Are you a wizard, Colin?
Yes. Oh, that's another
He built his own flux capacitor.
Drink.
Oh, drink. But they've also said that if you are going to drink coffee for its health benefits, it's better to take it black, simply because adding milk reduces the body's ability to take up the supposedly beneficial antioxidants. And apparently the same is true with strawberries and cream. There's a picture of a giant rabbit for no apparent reason.
Somehow that makes it easier.
Picture not related.
I like my black people the way I like my coffee. I don't like coffee.
That's terrible.
I like my women.
You're offended by the racism. Look at the rabbit. It's much more friendly.
I like my women the way I like my coffee, Puerto Rican.
But they are also but they apparently it's the same with strawberries and cream. That apparently strawberries aren't very good for you if you put cream on them. Not only because there's a lot of fat on it, but also because you don't actually get the benefits from eating fruit.
In the last 10 years, I've heard them say so many things will cause cancer or cure cancer. I've heard American media say that that eggs cause cancer, milk causes cancer, sugar, artificial sugar.
Women.
May I ask something?
Yeah.
What's the difference between natural sugar and artificial sugar, other than there are a few impurities?
Real sugar is magic.
Artificial sugar is just not real sugar. It's like artificial sweetener.
It's basically, yeah, it is a synthetic compound which is far.
You mean sugar replacement?
Less of it. Yeah, sugar replacement.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought you meant. Sugar that was built by man. We have the ability to rebuild him.
We have the technology.
I know the difference between sugar and sweetener.
I think the part of the appeal behind touting it as a cancer preventative with coffee, they've said the same things of wine and chocolate. It's simply
they say artificial sweeteners give you cancer too, though, right?
Yeah, they basically, as Yoshimo was saying, both sugar and sugar substitutes, I believe, to cause cancer. So.
You know what?
Everything. You're screwed either way.
Well, I say believe to cause cancer. That's in the eye of the media. I suspect that the scientific consensus is rather different.
I think Shadow Christ said it best in the chat. The only way to stop cancer is to be dead. The only no cure.
Yeah, but I think that part of the appeal though is that there's a lot of interest in trying to find foods which are considered to be unhealthy or considered to be indulgent, and trying desperately to find some kind of benefit from it. Because, as I say, there's been a lot of interest in red wine and chocolate and now coffee, things which people normally feel guilty about. Just another thing.
Chocolate cause cancer.
Let me have a look and see what the Daily Mail says.
It's pathetic. That you have to actually check.
Well, I mean, chances are it's on there. It is a ridiculously long list. Let's see. Children's food, chilies, Chinese medicine, chips, chlorine, chocolate. There it is. Yeah, so chocolate is supposed to cause cancer, and I suspect if I look, then it'll be on the list of things that prevents as well. Let me see.
What people are drinking chlorine and surviving long enough to get cancer?
Interesting enough, chocolate isn't on the Daily Mail list of things that prevents cancer. I should say one of my favourite things on the list of things which are supposed to give you cancer is turning on the light to go to the loo in the middle of the night.
Are you?
Is it eyeball cancer?
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding at all.
That's like saying that going to your mailbox to get the mail and then walking back gives you tumors.
Can we just say?
Well, there you go. Have you done it?
Oh my God. That's the new revelation. We need to start this. We need to start this rumor.
The way in which we're going to test it is you compare the United Kingdom, where we don't have mailboxes, to the US, where you do, and have a look at the incidence of cancer.
I see.
All right, then. See? Maths. But I can't actually find the article in question right now. If you really want, I'll bring it up. But the way in which it's worked is that they were trying to look and see whether or not people who work night shifts had an increased incidence of cancer. And part of the thinking was because they were working under light in the middle of the night when they should be asleep.
So now light causes cancer.
Well, they and I think they did some experiments to see whether short periods of light exposure at night were linked to an increase in cancer. And I think they must have had a sample size of about 4 people. Because I think they came to the conclusion that there was some correlation.
Really?
And so from that, the Daily Mail managed to draw the conclusion that if you switch on the light to go to the toilet in the middle of the night, then you have an increased risk of cancer. My question to that is, what if there are monsters hiding under your bed?
Ooh.
Or if you're one of these people that, when they flush the toilet, they have to run back
What
to
do
bed.
you think prevents cancer?
Yeah, well, it could well be. I mean,
not leaving your house.
I mean, you have to make the choice, like your fear of the monster or your fear of cancer. Which is larger?
Maybe the monsters scare the cancer out of you. And if you turn the light on, then they can't scare you, which means the cancer stays in your body.
AIDS can stop cancer.
Right.
You know what else?
You know what causes cancer?
Creation causes cancer.
Fucking magnets.
Magnets cause cancer.
I would say that I could put together very convincing evidence that creationists cause brain hemorrhages in the rationally minded, but apart from that.
Drink.
I don't understand the drink thing. Is that an inside joke?
Just drink alcohol when the word drink is said, because Lewis and Blue are in charge of the drinking.
It's the Skeptic TV drinking game. Whenever Lewis references a meme or whenever Blue drinks, then the watchers have to drink.
So I'm being generous.
Whenever somebody drinks, you drink.
Yes.
When Blue drinks.
Drink.
No, only when Blue drinks.
Oh, okay.
Or when Lewis references an internet meme.
It's my most important part in this chat.
So I'm hoping
one of the commenters gave me an idea. What if thunderstorms cause cancer?
Ooh.
Let me see if I can find thunderstorms.
Does it say breathing causes cancer?
I imagine that lightning produces quite a lot of UV and X-rays.
Having a heartbeat causes cancer.
Owning pets causes cancer.
Having cancer causes cancer.
Till receipts are supposed to cause cancer.
Thinking
to
about
this cancer
podcast causes cancer, everybody.
Burning Qurans gives cancer.
Too much masturbation.
Oh no.
Thinking about cancer causes cancer.
Actually, they said that jerking off causes less cancer, or reduces your chances of getting prostate cancer. So
Very safe.
I don't think I'll ever need to get a prostate exam.
Would people like to hear very quickly? I could read out the whole list of Daily Mail things.
Please
I think we ought to move on, because I think this might give you some enjoyment.
We can do that to inform the viewers, and then we can move on.
Yes. Abortion, age, air pollution, air travel, alcohol, allergies, artificial flavours, artificial light, asbestos, aspirin, babies, baby bottle, baby food, bacon, barbecues, bathwater, beef, beer,
Hold on.
being black.
You said abortion.
Being black.
Being a woman, being a man, being a woman, being a man, being a skinny girl, being Southern, biscuits.
Being Southern.
I'm
from South Carolina. I'm gonna get cancer.
I mean south of England, so you might be okay.
Southern England.
Being Southern, biscuits, blowjobs, bras, bread,
it's the ultimate conservative bloody poster, isn't it?
breastfeeding, breast implants, broken hearts, bubble bath, burgers, caffeine, calcium, candlelit dinners, carbohydrates, cars, cereal boxes.
Fucking get it. Enough.
Carbohydrates gives you cancer.
Chicken, childlessness, children, children's food, chilies, Chinese medicine, chips, chlorine, chocolate, city living, climate change, Coca-Cola, cod liver oil, cold temperatures.
Shut up.
Notice that you said abortion and babies, so basically you've got no choice. If you don't want to get cancer, don't repopulate the human race.
Constipation, contraceptive pills, cooking, cordless phones, crayons, curry, dental x-rays, deodorant, dieting, dogs, eggs.
Curry, surely.
Stop.
Free-range eggs, electricity, the English breakfast, Facebook, false nails, fatherhood, fibre, finger length, fish,
Facebook causes cancer.
Fly spray. I'm not going to carry on because it will go on all night.
Red
Shut up. We got it.
I think the bottom line is that we can
everything causes cancer.
That we shouldn't trust the Daily Mail for our health.
All right. That's it.
So I think on that note, I'm going to leave it. But I'm hoping that this will become a regular thing on Skeptic TV. I would like to investigate the kind of the health food versus doom food.
I just don't get how they say abortion and having babies causes cancer.
Children and childlessness.
Being a woman and being a man.
Like there's some sort of in between. Well,
I like
the only way you can avoid getting cancer is being hermaphrodite. That's the only way you can avoid getting cancer, according to the Daily Mail. You got to have a penis and a vagina.
Answer in Books wants me to carry on reading. I tell you what. Save that for next time. Where are we at the moment? We're on fly spray at the moment, so we'll continue that next time.
Sorry if my hyena laugh distracting anybody.
Yeah, please mute your mic the next time you're laughing like that. It got very annoying.
Drink.
Right, so I think that's it. I don't know whether or not we had anything else lined up for the news, or whether
we're
overrunning slightly now.
I'm back.
Hooray.
That's nice.
Silence is deafening.
So now we're on to our main topic.
Circular reasoning. Right.
This is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a couple of weeks now, simply because we haven't been doing the show, and this has been on hold. Basically, I wanted to try and discuss how we know that a lot of the supposedly rational arguments, which are challenges being based on circular reasoning, aren't, and to point out some of the things which we think, mainly theistic claims, which we think are based on circular reasoning. One of the prime examples being the Bible is true because it says so. We're going to go into that, but I think the first thing that I would like to talk about is stratigraphy, because there's this very old hoary creationist argument that's done the rounds quite a lot, which is that rocks are dated by the fossils that they contain, and that fossils are dated by the rocks they contain, and therefore this is an example of circular reasoning.
No.
I was hoping that we would have Angry Womble with us for this show, so that she could go off on a rant, but unfortunately she's not here today.
Where is the crazy bitch?
I don't think she likes being called crazy bitch, and I don't know where she is, unfortunately.
That's what I call everyone.
Yeah, she had something to do this weekend, I thought.
Oh, okay.
That's what I do to people. They hate me so much that they skip this show just to avoid me.
No, she knows what it is. She just doesn't know what's in it, meatbag.
Yeah, so there it's on the screen. It's almost making me feel sick reading it. Apart from the fact that the arrows are coming from different places. But anyway, I won't contest that fact. So before I go off on a rant, does anybody else want to say anything about this?
About circular reasoning?
But yeah, I mean, why the stratigraphy, as proposed by mainstream geology, is not an example of circular reasoning, i.e. strata are dated by fossils and fossils are dated by strata. Because
it's not dated by fossils.
Well, some of them are. That's what they like to pick up on. There are some fossils.
What it is they find fossils of a given range in an area where they can't find the crystals, but they find the crystals elsewhere on the exact same landmass. And they can go, oh, we can see the strata here are this way, therefore the strata here that don't have the crystals, that don't have the volcanic layers, are the same age too. I mean, the layers go across the landmass, so...
Yeah, I mean... It is, however, true to say that some layers can be dated by the fossils they contain. I mean, in the loosest sense, you can say this rock has ammonites in it, and ammonites were only proliferated in the Jurassic and the Cretaceous. Therefore, we know
that's because we've studied them enough to know this.
Yes. So
but how did we know? We dated them elsewhere by a different method. So.
Yes, I mean, this is what I mean to say. We need independent dating methods to start off with. So we need things like radiometric dating. And also there's the fact that we can generally go on the assumption that rocks deeper down are older, assuming that they're the right way up. So once we've got independent measurements, I mean, for instance, if we want to date something like a sedimentary rock, we cannot date it directly by radiometric dating, nearly called it radioactive dating, flat wrist. But if we know that if there is, for instance, a lava flow above and below that layer, and one of them dates to, I don't know, 210 million years, and the other one dates to 220 million years, then we can be fairly confident to say that the rock in between that is between those ages. Rocks of Cancer, yes, thank you, Yosh. Actually, well, I should say this actually. There's where I live, there are a lot of houses built of granite, and they have to be assessed every year for their radioactive radon give out, so that they know whether or not it's at carcinogenic levels. So yes, living in a granite house gives you cancer. But then, I say, after a certain
we have granite countertops. Does that count?
Not really. They're probably not even real granite, but they probably are radioactive if they're real stone.
Yeah, I was a real stone.
Yeah, okay. But so after a point, we can say that you only find fossils of a particular species or a particular type within rocks that fall between these ages. And then you can say, when you come across another rock that contains these fossils, you can say that came from a time within this time range, because those fossils only existed at those times. So it's never true that we can simply look at a stratum and look at the fossils and immediately go, well, we can date it by the fossil, or look at a fossil and say, well, it came out of this stratum of rock, therefore we know that it's that old. I mean, one of the most interesting ones, I think, are the graptolites, which I think if you find graptolites in a rock, by looking at the shape in which the graptolites grow, I think you can actually narrow it down to about the age of the rock down to about 1 million years, if you know what you're doing. So some of these are actually very precise. It's not just hand-wavy, wishy-washy science. Yes, everybody likes that.
Silence.
Yeah. Anybody want to say
Yeah,
anything
he's
else?
hosting.
Yeah, all right. I really wish I hadn't chosen that name. It's causing far too much confusion.
LOL
You didn't
puns.
think you'd be a blog TV host.
Yeah,
This sound sucks. What?
Yeah. Or just saying, sound's gone. I'm going, no, I haven't. I'm still here. Or there's no sound and somebody puts silence in chat and I think they're talking about me.
Fucking thing sucks.
Oh, yes, I should
take a drink.
Well, do it live.
Oh.
We're not going to have anyone alive in the chat by the end of this.
I should have said, well, DPR Jones, I reckon, can handle his drink. He'll probably drink us all under the table.
DPR Jones is going to be giving, is going to be splitting his drinks with a 12-year-old, I think.
I shall challenge him.
I forgot to say this at the top of the show, but as ever, if you do want to call in and ask us a question or discuss anything, then you simply need to contact SkepticTV on Skype and we'll get you into the call and you can say whatever you like.
Shouldn't we call it SkepticTV?
No, because that would be shit.
I know.
Oh, yes, you're right. Don't call us. We'll call you. So send us a message, and then we will invite you into the call. So, does anybody have anything else to say before we move on?
Not much.
I like turtles.
I like turtles. Drink.
Texas rocks.
I'm running out of drink.
Texas is terrible.
We're smart.
I've got 4 pints left, I think.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
You're not going to make it an hour.
I can handle my drink, I'll have you know.
Yeah, but you're going to be out of drink before the end of the hour.
Dude, you're an evil, evil man.
The one thing I'm not very good at is spirits, as you probably found out.
Oh, no. Actually, no. I think you said what you needed to say. But,
No,
Yes,
back to
let's
the
move on, Sound.
topic.
Drink.
So, I've completely lost the thread of this now. So, what we were... one thing I did want to discuss is whether or not the truth of the Bible is reliant on circular reasoning, because we often...
Extremely circular reasoning.
We often, supposedly as skeptics, keep throwing these things out. And a lot of the Christians get rather irate about this and say that it doesn't rely on circular reasoning. But then a lot of them do also say, I know that the Bible is the word of God because it says in whatever passage...
Let me read what it says on that chart there for you guys who can't read the fine print. It says, the Bible is the word of God. And the skeptic would ask, but how can you be sure that it's the word of God? The person would then say, because the Bible tells us so. But why believe the Bible? The Bible's infallible. But how do you know it's infallible? Because the Bible's the word of God. But how can you be so sure it's the word of God? And the circle goes on and on and on.
I thought you were going to carry on going then. But it's also, why did you read it out in your Professor Farnsworth voice? But,
I didn't read it, Professor Farnsworth.
I found that an argument that some use is that the only difference between a skeptic, atheist, whatever you want to be called, and a Christian is your presuppositions. Like, I was having a chat with a friend, and he said, well, my presupposition is that God does exist, whereas your presupposition is that he doesn't. We are equal. One is not any better than the other.
Right, okay. So the fact that, well, I would say that the skeptic the skeptic in general does not rely on anybody's word for something like that. We like to, basically the Christians are happy that the Bible says that it is the word of God, and because they believe in God, then that simply stands up. Whereas I suppose the atheist says, well, I don't believe in God, so therefore you have to try and convince me that there is a God before I'll even begin to believe that this is the word of him. I think I've confused everyone now.
Indeed.
Yes. Was that another meme?
I don't think so.
Okay, then I thought it was a Robotnik, but...
Well, it is a Robotnik, but that's not a meme.
No, okay, no, it's not a meme. No, we can carry on.
It's just a reference.
Repeat that sound.
Repeat what?
What you said before you said, I'm confusing everybody.
Basically, I suppose that the way that a skeptic looks at these things is that we, first of all, don't know that there is a God. A Christian is quite happy to accept that supposed circular reasoning because, as far as they're concerned, they know that God exists. And so, therefore, it seems reasonable to say that...
It's part of their presupposition.
Yes. And so, but we don't presume such a thing. Therefore, it seems to us
that's
to be a flawed line of reasoning.
People are sheeple. That's why.
Sheeple.
They're sheep. Yes.
I've never heard that one before.
Yes, if you are religious, you are a sheep. I am sorry if I... Actually, no, I'm not sorry if I pissed you off. You're a fucking sheep. Stop listening to
The Skeptic. Is that an actual movie?
Yeah.
It is.
I forget what it's about now, but it's supposed to be quite good.
So, what was I going to say?
CSBR said in the comment section, people who need to be punched in the face. I can prove that with philosophy. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what a friend of mine, he does that all the time. He tries to show that his opinions are no less sound than my own because he has his philosophical reasoning.
There is a Bible passage which I can never find. I can't remember where it is, and I've been trying to find it today and still can't remember where it is. But there is supposedly a passage of the Bible which says this is not meant to be taken literally. It's simply a teaching tool. But then again, that the only copy of the Bible where I've read that was one of the newer versions. It wasn't the King James version. And so I suspect a lot of the fundamentalist Christians would immediately discard it in that respect, and possibly the King James version says something rather different or more poetic.
I love how they actually think that the King James version is the most accurate translation. Like, they don't look into the history of it, why it was commissioned to be written.
I mean, the word translation should immediately throw up alarm bells, because if something is translated, then it potentially has deviated from the original.
Yes, but especially the King James version of it, which was specifically commissioned to be written to fulfill King James's agenda.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, Lewis, but who the fuck is moving furniture?
What?
I'm shifting in my chair. I don't know whether or not.
Jeez, it sounds like someone's dragging furniture across the floor.
I don't think that's me. Let me do it again. Is that it?
No.
No, it wasn't me then.
Let's just assume it was me, and I'll say sorry.
Yeah, Chilled has been making some rather interesting noises before he came online this evening. We think either he was using an ice cube tray or his house was falling down. But sorry, where were we? Yeah, I think part of the argument behind the King James being authoritative is that the King of England is supposedly appointed by God, and therefore if he approves a particular version of the Bible, then it's approved by God by proxy. And so therefore it's more trustworthy. But I think part of this, I was discussing with you, Chill, the passage about Behemoth in the Bible with its potential to be a dinosaur.
Right, but there are several different ways to interpret that, depending on how far back you go in terms of the history and linguistics of it.
Yeah, and the thing is, the trouble with the King James version is that it is very poetic and the language is very obscure in places. I mean, for instance, the passage in question, it says, he moveth his tail like a cedar. And a lot of Christians have taken that and they've said that the behemoth's tail is like a cedar, or it's as big as a cedar. But actually, if you look at many of the other translations of the same time, for instance, the translation into Latin and the translation into Greek, it says that he moves it like it's a cedar, and that it doesn't in any way.
That's how I saw it, is that he moveth his tail like it's moving, like it's swifting back and forth.
So I don't honestly see how you can rely on a Bible passage with such ambiguity, and in that case, I think they are actually deliberately twisting the words of the Bible to try and suit their own agenda.
Yeah, that's why I criticized the Truth Group, was because they're taking the definition that fits their belief and running with it, and not stopping to realize how ambiguous it is.
Yes, and I mean, I don't know whether or not they got it from Ken Ham, but Ken Ham uses the exact same line of argument.
To be honest, I have never watched a single Ken Ham video. Never once.
I was listening to a Christian talk radio station because I'm a masochist, and they had Ken Ham on, and he was basically giving his bullshit explanation about, like, there's this wheel in a water thing and it's petrified, and now evolutionists will say that this oh god, Ken Ham alone.
Honestly,
you can't remember it.
How can you look at a face like that and how can he look at himself in the mirror every morning and say that humans did not descend from apes?
No, he totally looks like one.
He looks so much like a monkey.
Yes.
And that's not an attack on him. He just does.
So,
I think more of a Yeti.
He was saying, like, now these evolutionists say that it takes millions of years for petrification to occur, but here we have something that was man-made to be petrified, and I'm like, God damn it! Stop lying to these people.
Even though a lot of people agree.
I am sure this asshole knows that petrification is not the same thing as fossilization. I am sure he is smarter than that. If he's not, then he is fucking retarded.
Well, petrification and fossilization are really the same thing of a kind, but what he's talking about is neither. It's concretion. It's basically covered in limescale.
Fossilization. Excuse me. Fossilization is any remnant of a previous organism.
Yes, that's true. A fossil could be something like a footprint, for instance.
Yeah. So they're not quite the same.
Stupid asshole.
I mean, at least
Lewis, tell us what you really think.
At least he doesn't have the stupidity of Karl Bauer, who says that they're genuine pre-flood artifacts.
What,
like
pre-flood? The wheel?
I mean, things like the fossilized spark plug and the fossilized 19th century miner's hat.
How could why would a spark plug have been? Why would that have existed pre-flood? That's another conspiracy theory, that all of this technology has not really been invented. It's just been discovered.
Well, Potter did a video about this and showed people who reckon that the spark plug was some alien piece of technology that had been brought about. There's a picture of it.
Well, see, they knew that Jesus resurrected after the third day because when they opened the tomb, he and his Harley Davidson were gone.
Now, him and his Model T Ford were had both disappeared. The funny thing to me was that, oh God, I don't know why.
Little known fact, pre-flood, the world looked like Tron.
Really?
Wait, the original Tron and the Tron Legacy world?
No, the original Tron.
Take your pick. I like the original Tron better than Tron Legacy, but...
It's so funny to me how fucking stupid some people can be. For some reason, I had gotten home, and guess who was waiting to talk to me for some reason? Micah. I don't know why.
Who's Micah?
Why. He's some retard. He's like one of Nephilim Free's little proteges.
Uh-oh.
He's crazy.
It's Neff's lapdog.
He's one of...
He has a lapdog?
Yes, pretty much.
Yes.
He believes these stupid fucking conspiracy theories about the Illuminati. And he was trying to explain to me this bullshit. I'm like, dude, I don't give a fuck. I had literally gotten off of work. I was working for fucking 8 hours.
Has anybody heard my Illuminati Twilight conspiracy?
Ooh,
No.
I'm interested.
No, I'm not interested at all.
Okay.
Fuck those things.
I'll tell those who are interested later.
Oh, God.
Okay. I don't know whether or not people are happy to go off topic, but if DPR does actually want to ring in, I mean, he's kind of asked this question in chat, but I'd prefer it if he did actually ring in and discuss it. He basically wants to know why people believe in conspiracy theories. I know it's something that he's been interested in.
Pull him into the call.
Well, so if you want,
I would think that it would give them some sense of superiority because they think that they have knowledge that other people don't have.
That's what I like to say about it. But so let's see if we can get him into the call.
It's not just that. It's also he's not online.
Get him online.
Either way, it's because stupid fucking people think that, they can't accept, the government is always lying to us. So you can never accept what the government tells you. They're trying to manipulate you, man. And if you believe what they say, they're just you're just gonna fall for their trap. They're so goddamn stupid.
I think
human nature
this.
I think that's what it is.
It's human nature to wanna go on.
No, go on.
I was going to say, it's human nature to want to see anything that you don't understand as an enemy.
Yeah, and I think for me, what convinces me is that people are now in a position whereby they are told what to think by a lot of things. In other words, they get their information through the media. They get their information from scientists who not only are perceived as evil because of their various upsets over the years, but also because they now work in such obscure fields that they seem impenetrable. And so people are just reliant on these things directly from the scientists almost without question. And so I think that people feel a certain sense of superiority as being, as knowing better than the scientists. And I think they think that everybody else is being duped by the scientists or by the media or whatever, and that they're the ones who really know what's going on. So I think
they know the truth.
They feel more intelligent and they feel more knowledgeable than everybody else, and a lot of people enjoy that.
Oh God, that's
feeling.
Stupid shit. I think it's also a fact that people like to think that there might be something more to it than there actually is. Because, I mean, I think it's because, like, for example, 9/11, they don't want to believe that some, ragtag band of Muslims in caves in Afghanistan were able to orchestrate, one of the worst terrorist attack in history. They want to think that, oh man, we're not that vulnerable. It had to be the government in a false flag operation or something like that.
The government's not perfect.
Yeah, pretty much. We all know that. Of course, the government's not going to be perfect. Of course, it's not going to be perfect. It's run by people who are imperfect beings. So of course, it's not going to be perfect.
No, we're having trouble getting DPR into the call. He says he's online, but he doesn't appear to be.
Unless he removed us all, in which case he would. Oh.
There we are. He's online now.
There he is.
We have a fresh 12-year-old waiting for you, DPR.
Jeez.
Well, I'm actually 16, so I might be just a bit too old for a DPR.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get in order by age and queue up.
Oh,
Okay,
shit.
so I'm at the very end of the list.
I don't know. Are you older
not
than
fair.
Colin?
I think I am, aren't I, Colin?
You're in your 30s, aren't you, Chris?
Chris
Oh,
is old as
Yeah.
fuck.
I should say for the benefit of people listening, we're talking to Colin, but fortunately you can't hear him. Yeah, Chris, you're in your 30s, aren't you? Therefore, I think you're older.
Yeah,
than Colin.
mid-30s.
Chill T, you're 16, so you're legal in most American states, so I don't think DPR will be interested.
There's no challenge for him there.
I was voting before you were born, Chill T.
Oh, I didn't mean to add angry.
DPR likes to is a pedophile because he likes tits from 17-year-old girls, except they're not really 17, they're 22.
I think DPR is actually taking the piss because he's not picking up. I don't think. We've tried adding him several times and he's still not. I think he's just winding us up to ruin the show.
We don't pick on DPR Jones, he picks on us.
Yay. We'll regret having him on, I guarantee it.
It's his revenge.
Blue's been very quiet recently. I think he must have passed out.
He probably drank too much.
He lost the game.
Motherfucker! God damn it.
He's so drunk that he can't find the call button.
And I'm like 1 hour away from Lewis. This is not a good idea for me to do.
You're not that fucking close to me. You're like 2 hours.
I'm sure Lewis isn't that passionate about the game that he would hunt you down and shoot you.
Especially not with gas prices at fucking $4 a gallon.
I know.
The thing is that you keep forgetting en route to your house why he was going, and then all of a sudden you remember and go, oh, god damn it.
Make me lose the
Do we have
game.
DPR now? Can we hear you DPR? Hello.
He's on the call. There he is.
Hey. No,
Greetings,
he's being
sir.
quiet again.
Hello.
He's probably hooking up his phone.
Why is
There we
everyone
have
so nasty to me?
We're not. We love you, man.
It's just because we're jealous of your superiority and how many subscribers you have.
At least you didn't throw your toys into the pram.
It's just because Venom Fang X unmasked you for the paedophile that you are, and the fact that you've evaded arrest for so long.
We're jealous because you can be a pedophile and be cool, whereas everybody else who's a pedophile is just a pedophile.
Yeah, they're a criminal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the reason why DPR,
Whereas you've
The
managed to
reason why-
forge a career on it.
the reason why DPR Jones has not been arrested yet is because he's holed up in a mansion outside of the Pakistani
Abbottabad.
capital.
He's in Abbottabad.
Yeah, I'm living in a compound, and I get very nervous every time I hear a helicopter these days.
When it's two, you got to worry.
It's Chris Hansen's helicopter.
No, they're,
Yes.
they're bound to crash one on the way.
They're probably more likely to take each other out before they get to you, so.
I've got some small human shields I can use as well.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC. Why don't you take a seat right over there? You'll never take me alive, Chris Hansen!
Did we say that, actually, with regards to the Bin Laden conspiracies? One of the stories was that he tried to use his wife as a human shield. Well,
Yes.
I've heard that
okay,
before.
Okay. I was just wondering which one.
His fourth.
Fourth was, I heard it was his eighth, but okay, I'll trust you. You were probably there, so.
I think he just pulled that number out of his ass. Who knows?
Do you think?
I've heard it was his
No,
fault as well.
it's his fourth. It was his fourth wife that got shot in the leg.
Do you actually know this? Is it actually true? You know
Yeah,
how many marriages
that's-
Bin Laden's through?
I think it was his last. I think he's got 4 wives, and it was the 4th wife that was shot. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think I know why Osama bin Laden went crazy. He was the 17th of 57 kids. I would have fucking killed one of my relatives if I had that many siblings.
Well, I should say, I don't quite understand, because the most recent story is that he never used his wife as a shield at all. The most recent story that I've heard is that he was in bed in his pajamas.
It's because it didn't really happen. We didn't really kill
Unless he had his wife on top of him in bed.
him. Ooh, that's dirty.
Ooh, when the soldiers went in, did they see his wife's face? Because if so, she's got to be killed or something.
That's why they shot her.
Yeah, I don't
Oh.
think that the US military stand by that code of practice, Yoshimo.
So
Well, they
Like,
buried him.
why do
Buried
you
him in 24 hours, according to Muslim tradition.
Dutch Liam, stop trolling in chat.
why do you think why do you think people like to believe conspiracies, DPR Jones?
Oh, glad we got back onto that. No, the reason I'm somewhat knowledgeable about the stories about Bin Laden is because this is an issue that I think I might be referring to in a month's time, and I've been following its development, and it's amazing as how quick these conspiracy theories arise. And some of them are just very interesting, and others are just batshit crazy. But I'm curious to know why people actually do believe in them. And I'm sorry, I wasn't paying full attention as I was trying to get into the Skype call when it was talked about briefly before. But yeah, that's the question. Why do people believe in it, in them? What's the attraction? Because I think there's something deeply psychological going on here, but I just don't know what it is.
Well, like I said earlier, is that it makes them feel like they're superior. They have knowledge that other people don't have, and that they're enlightened in some way, in a way that the mass majority of people are not.
I think that's a perfectly valid point, but is that a symptom as opposed to a cause?
What I said, DPR, was that I think the reason that people like to believe conspiracy theories is, for one, I think they want there to be something more than there actually is. For example, let's go to 9/11. They want to think that they don't want to believe that some ragtag group of Arabs in the middle of Afghanistan in the caves were able to orchestrate the greatest terrorist attack in the history of man. They want to believe that it took something more than that. They want to believe that it had to be the government and some false flag operation. It couldn't just have been 19 guys on airplanes. It had to be something more. And I think they just want to believe that.
Yeah, I think this all kind of ties in. I think that a lot of people find real life a bit too mundane. It's probably the same reason why people like to believe that there are such things as magic and witchcraft. I think that if you've just got the facts, then that's rather dull. If you think that there's actually something secret going on behind it, then that makes it a lot more interesting. There's at least if you can speculate in your own head, you can come up with all kinds of interesting propositions.
Well, I think Lewis's point is very valid. There's a refusal to accept. This is a similarity that you get with the JFK conspiracy. No one wants to believe that he could have been taken out by a lone gunman. So there's something to that, but that doesn't explain all conspiracy theories. I mean, the MMASK autism conspiracy, for example, the moon landing conspiracy. This doesn't explain those ones. Theory. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't explain those. It does explain some. I'll give you that.
There is. I think there's a very easy explanation for the autism one, because I think that a lot of people are affected by autism, not necessarily directly. It could be that parents of children who've got autism, they don't want to come to the conclusion that either that it's their genes' fault or that it's something for which nobody is responsible. I think they want, on behalf of, in other words, well, for want of a better word, serving justice on behalf of their child, they want to try and find somebody who's responsible for it. And as soon as that paper was published, basically
they don't want to feel
the
like
government,
there's nothing that can be done.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, which again is that doesn't fit in with the Lewis argument. Both of those, I think, are perfectly sound arguments, but it seems to suggest there are different motives for different conspiracy theories. I think there's something underlying all of them.
Throughout all of human history, when something bad goes wrong, even if it's something completely natural, the first thing people do is find someone to blame.
Well, the great thing about
dead people.
The great thing about conspiracy theories is that once it's already been seeded, there's virtually nothing you can do to dissuade them, because as soon as somebody comes forward and says, no, this vaccine doesn't cause MMR or something, in the head of the person who believes that it's a conspiracy, immediately that adds evidence. Yeah, they've been paid to say that, or they're in the pay of the government or whatever.
I can understand you can't get rid of it, but these things, for example, 40 years ago, when a survey was done in America, how the percentage of people that thought that some sort of federal authority or whatever was involved in the JFK assassination was about 30%. A similar survey done within the last 10 years, that figure has gone up to something like 90%. So there's obviously something about these things. And for example, Loose Change, if you talk about 9/11, that tragic film is winning over a lot of supporters. So it's not just a matter of getting rid of it. People seem positively encouraged to support and follow these ideas. So there's obviously some attraction in them, but I just don't understand what it is.
DPR, can I stop you there for a second? Trill T, mute your fucking microphone. God damn it.
Thank you.
Continue.
Sorry, Karen, continue.
Sorry about that, DBR.
Oh, I'd come to an end anyway. Yeah, I mean, my point is that people are attracted to them. Their popularity is increasing, so it's not a matter of just getting rid of them. That's not really the point. The question is why are people attracted to them? Why does someone watch Loose Change and think, oh yeah, that's so right, without questioning it? It seems that there's obviously something about the human psyche that is drawn to them.
Yeah, it's the fact that they will immediately believe something like Loose Change, and then on the same amount of evidence, essentially refuse to believe anybody who says something the opposite. They like to think that they're being skeptical in not listening to the government and so on, but then they have few minutes earlier swallowed something without question. And that's something that I just don't understand.
Can I add something?
Yeah, well, yes, if you're on air.
Yeah, I'm on air now.
Okay.
One of the things I noticed is that it seems to be synonymous with what is invested with how do you say it, ideology or other interests or certain gains people have, which determines what kind of conspiracy they follow or why they believe it. For example, with climate change, it's not exactly because they don't have a correct filter or anything. Most of the people that have trouble accepting that it is actually happening or go against the consensus are people that have a certain political ideology. That's a large portion of those people.
I mean, it may well be the case, because I can't find any fault with the ideas that have been advanced so far. It may well be the case that each individual conspiracy theory has a different motive, or the followers of it have a different motive for supporting it. And maybe there isn't a common thread underlying all of them, as I initially suggested that there may be.
Now, the only thing that I can determine is that there's a failure of the bullshit filter, so to speak.
Well, that would be a common thread, but I wouldn't be phrasing it quite that way. There's certainly a comfort, I think, in... Well, I don't know, I don't know what it is. It's hardly a comfort in thinking, for example, that your government is lying to you. So it's not like religion, in which you can sort of like see that there's a comfort element to it. And it's sorry, go on.
I think honestly, James brought up the best point, that I think it has to do, or Chilty, whoever brought it up, I think it was the best point, that I think it has a lot to do with people thinking that they know more than the common layperson. They're like, yeah, I'm so intelligent, I'm so smart, I know more. Look at these dummies believing what the government tells them, and I think outside the box.
That is what Alex Jones basically does, isn't it? When he rants on his radio show, and he basically says, basically telling people to wake up and stop listening to the government because they are out to get you, and so on.
I mean, I know I've brought up the Paul McCartney conspiracy many times, but I think that it's a good example of my point, is that when other people hear the Beatles, they hear good music, but when these conspiracy theorists hear the Beatles, they look for hidden messages, and they look at album covers and pick out hidden messages. In their mind, they're getting more out of it than the average Beatles fan.
Yeah, although I honestly can't understand why they think that somebody would put something like that in a piece of music in the first place. But yeah, I think you're right. I think they like to try and spot what other people have missed. It is all about competition. It's trying to be more intelligent, trying to be better looking, and so on than everybody else. And I think that's probably what it pays into.
For example, Micah, who was telling me about the on the back of the dollar bills, it has the
owl.
The owl.
The Illuminati pyramid, is it?
Yes, the unfinished pyramid thing with the eye or whatever. He's like, that was put there when Franklin Roosevelt signed it on there, and he was a 33rd degree Freemason. I'm like,
yeah, there's like the 13 arrows and the 13 leaves on the vine that the eagle is holding, and I mentioned the owl. Apparently, on behind a shield on the dollar bill, there is this small speck that, if interpreted correctly, looks a bit like an owl, and that symbolizes.
It means absolutely nothing. Plus, why would they put a symbol of their order, or whatever you want to call it, if they're trying to take over the world? Wouldn't they be a little bit more conspicuous about that kind of shit?
That's what. Yeah,
they're hiding in broad daylight.
I kid you not. When I was looking into this yesterday, I did actually see on YouTube a David Icke video in which the we call it the tube train. What do you call it in America?
Like underground, like Metropolitan, or
the subway?
No,
the underground
subway.
trains.
Subway. I had a senior moment there. Subway. At the subway station underneath Ground Zero, They'd done it out, and they had put two eyes into some mosaic on the wall. And David Icke explained this by saying that this was them laughing at us. So it's not because they're trying to be hidden. They're just sort of like taking the piss out of us. That's the explanation that he gave. But though again, he is absolutely batshit crazy. Just going back, if I can, very quickly. Somebody mentioned about the investment that they put into it, and I think that's right. I mean, I think Loose Change started off with a number of pretty shabby arguments to start with. I mean, the collapse rate and World Trade Center 7
What
and
is
stuff
Loose
like
Change?
that.
I've never heard of
Loose
it.
Change is a film that was produced by Dylan Avery and two other people. It started off as a half-hour thing, I think, on YouTube, and now has sort of like gone global. And it's basically all the evidence that they have to support the fact that 9/11 was an inside job. And it's just torture. You'll see it. I mean, just put Loose Change into
It was made by
YouTube
two retards in high school who think they know more than everyone else.
But because they'd invested so much in it, their arguments became more and more batshit crazy. For example, was it Flight 93 that crashed? Well, of course it didn't crash. That plane actually landed at Cleveland Hopkins Airport, and the passengers were whisked away by mysterious men in black. The voice messages that were recorded from the plane, made by the passengers to their relatives as the plane was about to crash, that was all fabricated using voice morphing technology. I mean, this is the lengths to which these people will go to. Once you're into I suppose almost a cult or a conspiracy theory, you just, I think you lose all sight of logic, and you become very stubborn to any ideas to the contrary. And it's unlike religion in that regard, because in religion you're not challenging authority, whereas with a conspiracy theory like 9/11 you are. But I mean, with religion also, people get out of it. They leave it and become atheists. I've never seen an ex-truther.
No.
That's true.
No, I've never seen. Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, to be fair though, I kind of believed it, like when I was like in the 6th grade or something. Not 6th grade.
I had a friend that believed the moon landings were faked.
But then again, that was probably out of ignorance. Now that I see the evidence, I'm like, oh no, it wasn't an inside job.
But then, well, Kirk Cameron, I think, now claims that evolution is part of a conspiracy of academia, and he claims he used to be an atheist and used to accept it, whether or not that's true. So potentially there are people who have converted to what we call the crazy side.
Yeah, but do you honestly think that people do you honestly believe, for example, when Shock of God says he's an atheist? Fuck no. I don't believe him for 1 second.
No, I'm not convinced either. I think.
No.
But why would a Christian lie? It's a sin.
Oh yeah.
Never
I didn't think of that.
But there's it's an interesting question actually, because again, this is one of the sort of analogies I was looking at, because the evidence presented in this Loose Change film, I'm sorry, I'm just sticking on that because it's the one I'm most familiar with. For example, they talked about the collapse rates in the first half-hour video film that they did. The one that's now, I think it's on its 3rd cut, is now 90 minutes long. And even though, when they say the towers collapsed at free fall speed, and they quite clearly didn't, and I suspect that this was pointed out to them, the only edit that they made between the first and the final cut is that they fell at nearly free fall speed, leaving the impression very much, and particularly in using the clips that they do, that they were actually falling at free fall speed. This is dishonesty, in my view. Same with the the presentations made by Kirk Cameron and Ray Comfort. They are, in my view, dishonest. Ray Comfort has been explained to him time and time again what evolution is, and he continues to misrepresent it. Now, are these people lying? That is to say, are they conscious of the fact that they are being dishonest, or are they so deluded that they think that they are actually speaking the truth? I think that's an interesting question.
I think Ray Comfort is legitimately dishonest.
I'm convinced
what
that Ray
about
Comfort.
Nephilim Free? Because
Nephilim Free is insane.
I think the Nephilim Free believes everything he says, and when somebody says to him, "No, you're wrong about this definition," or "You're wrong about this concept," he will say that he has said we are changing the definition, or we are changing the concept to suit our own purposes, and that he's the only one with a complete definition, usually looked up on Merriam-Webster's online dictionary rather than a science textbook. But yes, I don't think he's being deliberately dishonest. I think he believes everything he says.
Well, I am convinced that Ray Comfort is lying all the time. People like Nephilim Free and them, they can, when people get their views challenged, especially if it's something they view as important, like Christianity, then they naturally start to become defensive. And even if it's something just like a couple's arguing about, like the best color of the carpet or whatever, people could become so defensive that hard proof can be shown to them and beyond a doubt, and their brain still will stop them from accepting it. Yeah, it just doesn't register on their brain.
But there's a difference between not accepting contrary evidence. That's quite different to consciously lying.
Yeah.
And I think that Ray Comfort does, I mean, he's very borderline. The one thing that probably persuades me that more than anything else in him being dishonest is actually, my memory was jogged by the picture that's just appeared. I've seen lectures subsequent to his Atheist Nightmare video about the banana, in which he seeks to persuade his audience that it was all a joke.
Yeah, I've got a video lined up at this at some point, because this is kind of what got me into YouTube, the YouTube evolution creation debate, if you can call it that, was that initially it was just the Atheist Nightmare video, but since then a spokesman produced a video saying that he wasn't aware that it was a mistake, but that the point still stood because man had been given the knowledge in how to domesticate bananas. And then a conflicting statement comes back saying that it was meant to be humour. And if it was meant to be humour, why was there a video trying to defend it in the first place? One or other story has to be a lie. I've tried to reason it, but no, one or other has to be a lie. There's no two ways about it. And I'd like to see whether or not Way of the Master will actually respond and try and clear it up. I suspect they won't, although they are fairly good at not censoring their critics.
Well, they might try to say that both of them were a joke.
I think honestly though, if Ray Comfort's going to tout stupid shit like the Atheist Nightmare, I think we need, there's a lot of things that are easily creationist nightmares. Like if our bodies or whatever are so
iron, manganese, nodules.
No, hold on.
Observable reality.
No. The whole. If our bodies are so fine-tuned and shit, why did the divine genius creator give us an appendix which serves no purpose, except to get infected and to potentially kill you if it ruptures?
I'm gonna stop you right here, because actually I think there's been some information come to light in recent years that actually the appendix may be more useful than we first thought. But I mean, there are plenty of similar examples that you could mention.
Well, I think you're absolutely right there, Sanders Silence. But another one, let's use the one that they absolutely love, the eye, which could not possibly have formed through
if it's so perfect,
process.
Why do we need glasses?
Well, it's worse than that, isn't it? Because its very structure is the retina is back to front.
Yeah,
it's upside down.
Well, no. The actual retina is the light-sensitive cells are actually hidden beneath the cells are backwards. If any sensible designer would have the light-sensitive part of the cell on the surface of the retina and the nerve leading away from the back of it, but it doesn't happen that way. It's the other way around.
Yeah, it's rather like having a TV screen with the wires on the front of it, obstructing your view of the television.
Yes, and as someone said, it's something that goes terribly wrong, which is why we have glasses and contact lenses and
also the eye is one of the.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say the eye is also one of the most vulnerable parts of the body, either for being pierced or being infected. I think God could have designed us with a nice protective shield over it, like safety specs, that would have stopped us having our eye poked out.
Just a few days ago, my father went into the emergency room because he had an eye infection. It was so bad that he had to take a shower with sunglasses on because he couldn't get water in his eyes.
Yikes.
So yeah, I can't honestly. I mean, there have been. I think I've heard before some defenses as to why the retina's back to front. I can't remember what they are, but there's usually some kind of half-assed explanation of why.
The thing is, the thing is, Silence, is that the eye has developed independently a number of times, and in some cases it is not backwards. So what is God playing at? I think he's given an octopus the eye the right way round, but not man.
Yeah. And in fact, octopuses are almost as intelligent as humans, so it makes you think.
There's another example that I can't remember the name of the actual animal, but it's some sort of cave-dwelling rat that has fully developed eyes, but there's a layer of skin that covers it, so it can't use them to see.
Mole rats?
Say that again?
Mole rats?
I'm not sure that it's some sort of cave-dwelling rat. I can't remember the exact name.
As I said, there are plenty of cave-dwelling species which have eyes which are not used, and they've sort of recessed down to stubs, but they are still eyes. So I don't know what the intelligent designer is thinking.
Gibberish 001 in chat has a good point about why do our eyes have a blind spot if God made them perfectly.
Yeah, well, it's what D.P.R. Jones is talking about. The problem of having the connective nerves for the retina on the surface of the retina means that they all have to gather at one point to form the optic nerve, and in that place you can't have the light-sensitive cells, and so you end up with a blind spot. Again, does seem like a rather stupid thing to do. Something for a sensory organ is to make it defective in a certain part of it.
It was certainly a bit bold of God to stand back from his creation and say that it was perfect.
Yeah,
it's a bit arrogant.
Somebody said, Beatbag too, said the blind spot is God's signature.
Well, looking
there
at
to
it,
test us.
Yeah,
kind of going back to the conspiracy idea. I remember watching one of Neff's videos where he talks about him communicating with some museum in Nevada, and saying like, "Do you guys have these bones or whatever from?" Oh God, that picture is so fucking creepy.
Oh God.
Do you guys have these like bones of giants or whatever that you guys supposed to have? And he's like, "No, we don't have those bones or any record of ever having any."
He said there is a story that we once had these bones, but no, we have no record of any such thing taking place. And he said, "Oh, see, they did have them, but they haven't got any record of them."
What is that? What's that supposed to prove exactly? What's his point?
That it's all a conspiracy. That was his point.
But what's the conspiracy?
Oh, I can tell you that. It's an academic conspiracy, and any challenge to Darwinism is not allowed because that would effectively endorse religion and young Earth creationism. So it's an academic conspiracy to keep creationism at bay.
Yeah.
They say that anything which proves the Bible to be true has to be destroyed, which makes me think that maybe the sun should have been destroyed because the sun is mentioned in the Bible. And
it's funny because every time I think, wow, I now know just how insane Nephilim Free is, I'm always corrected saying, no, you haven't even heard about this yet.
So this is the conspiracy theory, basically. Some newspaper a long-ass time ago, and Neff just read this on some conspiracy Christian creationist website, that some asshole found some remains of ancient, like, natives, and, well, not ancient, but just Native Americans, probably like from the 1500s or something, and they were giants. He found some giant femur. Do you know how big the story in the newspaper alone says how big the femur is?
And it was 18 inches, wasn't it?
No, it was smaller than that. It was 16 and a quarter or something inches.
16 inches, and I think mine's longer than that.
Yeah, that's like for someone who's like 5 feet tall or something, 5 foot something.
Wow.
The average male femur for someone now's height is 18 to 19 inches. Mine alone, from what I can tell without, cutting my leg off, is probably 20, maybe a lot more, because I've got a really long leg. But, besides that, it's just preposterous. I can
only think of two possibilities. One is that he either didn't bother to check whether or not that was ridiculous, either that or Nephilim Free is about 3'2" tall, and to him that seems like a giant.
Maybe.
I don't know what.
He doesn't tend to research his material particularly well. I mean, he almost boasts about the fact that he only ever reads the abstract of a paper because that's all he ever needs to read. I doubt he
unless it's from the Journal of Cosmology, in which case he does a word search for things that he's interested in.
Colin, leave that image up. See, this is the problem with this whole idea, this whole ridiculous notion of giant people. Look at these skeletons. The bigger one is just a supersized version of the smaller one. We know, thanks to physics, that is not possible.
This is what we discussed in the first ever Skeptic TV when we were talking about giant monster movies. You cannot just take an organism and double all its dimensions and go, there, giant.
Yeah, this is exactly why taller people have lower body issues, like leg problems, because they have problems with their legs holding their weight up. And yes, go ahead and start making fat jokes, people. Yes, that's why that is why
I think exceptionally tall people also have other medical conditions in relation to, in particular, heart problems, because their heart's got to work harder, pumping blood further and also further uphill against gravity, so to speak. Am I wrong in that? I'm pretty certain that they tend to have heart problems.
Yes, for example, the tallest man in the ever, who was like 8'11", he had heart problems because his heart could basically not get all the blood to his head, or his heart couldn't. God damn it, Colin.
It's also true that often the increase in height is a side effect of a condition which has other side effects as well, things like a lack of testosterone, which causes gigantism. I've been meaning to say this with regards to the behemoth, as mentioned in the dinosaur, actually. If you wanted to do one of these drawing the target round the bullseye statements that Christians like to do, to say that the Bible has scientific information in it long before it was discovered.
The behemoth has a giant penis.
No. If you read the Latin description of behemoth, it doesn't say that the muscles of his thighs are closely knit, as I think it says in King James. It says that the nerves of his testicles are tangled. And I think it could be the case that the behemoth was a case of a lack of testosterone from the testicles causing gigantism, which how could they have known about in the Bronze Age? So I'm gonna put that out there before anybody else has a chance to
that's interesting.
jump on it. But I've just looked it up. The tallest person in recorded history was 8'11" tall.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned earlier.
Yeah. So
I bet he died of heart problems.
He did. No, he died of an infection because he had a weakened immune system.
Yes, he had a blister on his ankle.
Yeah, because he had to use braces because his legs could not hold his weight up.
Yeah, he died at the age of 22.
His braces gave him a scrape or something, and the scrape got infected. And
the point you're missing, Lewis, is this: if God wanted giants to live, then He could have made them live.
Yeah, that's the convenient answer.
Then why did he stick them in Canaan so that they could have no purpose other than be slaughtered by the Jews?
I think somebody said something about an academic conspiracy earlier, and I just wanted to go on this small little tangent. I found this website about a year ago. I'll post it in the chat. But it's a website trying to promote the idea that the Earth does not move.
Right. Is that just geocentrism then?
No, it's not. It's the move doesn't. The Earth does not move at all. It is in a fixed position.
So that is geocentrism.
Wait, what? The Earth doesn't move at all in geocentrism?
Pretty much. Well, yeah, everything just moves around it.
Yeah, the Earth is the center of the universe, and everything revolves around it.
It's a good point, actually. Even with a geocentrist, does the Earth spin? I'm not sure.
Yeah, because the title of this page is "The Earth is not moving."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but in regular geocentrism, the Earth is just sitting there while the entire universe is rotating around it, and everything in the universe is independently rotating around the Earth. So the Earth wouldn't need to spin.
That's kind of, the classic geocentrism, as I like to think of it, is that everything follows the orbit around the Earth. And I think that was the problem with Galileo's observations, was that he saw things orbiting Jupiter, and therefore not everything was orbiting the Earth. And Nephilim 3 says that that's a stupid refutation against it. But at the time, it was true. People thought that absolutely every single thing in the universe
hold on one second. Silence.
really did not.
Colin is about to put a picture of a Nephilim up right now. See, because Nephilim lived during the human days. I mean,
that's not a Nephilim.
That's a T-Rex.
That's definitely a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
No. See, the Nephilim lived at the same time as the dinosaurs. That's a full-grown woman, and that is a giant. See, the dinosaurs lived at the same time, so that's proof
So
that the
it's a Nephilim and a behemoth all in the same picture.
And they had cars back in those days which were as big as giants.
Which would explain the fossil spark plug.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, you've done it.
We've just proven Christianity.
Photographic proof of the Nephilim.
Right, okay, no, Skeptic TV's over. I'm sorry, everybody.
Wait. How did
that go on knowing this fact?
But how did that picture survive?
I've got to rush off to church. I'm sorry.
I should say the rapture is in a fortnight, so you've got to repent pretty damn quickly. Sorry, did I say damn? Shit.
You said shit too.
Suddenly,
fuck.
I feel an attraction to women. It all makes sense now.
Oh, quick! We've got to find out which Christian denomination is true. Oh no!
Oh God! Time to look through all 30,000.
Just going back.
Have you seen the video that the Willwood Claire had recently posted, where it shows the percentage of people that are going to hell if you have a certain denomination?
It's at least 99.5% according to her maths. Yeah.
Just going back to Nephilim briefly, though, I don't think this is an appropriate time to make mock of him because obviously
it's always an appropriate time. No,
his good friend Sharon has recently apparently had a heart attack, but it might sound somewhat a cheap point, but when she had an incurable problem with her legs, he laid his hands upon her, icicles shot out of her toes, and she was healed. I just wonder what's gone wrong with his healing powers and why he can't do a similar thing and why he's got to rely on the power of asking people to pray.
God works in mysterious ways.
I guess that's true.
I think we should all be extremely happy that he actually decided to not just rely on his magic and actually decided to go to the hospital to fucking die.
Yes, given that after the problem in her legs was cured, she then stopped taking all her medication. I do feel a certain sense of relief that he has at least taken her to a hospital and is having her seen professionally. But no, it does make you wonder why A, he didn't see it coming, and B, he didn't think that he could cure it. I don't. Again, it's not really the time to talk about it.
I know it's. I don't want to pick on him, and I certainly don't want to appear to be picking on her. But I mean, it is odd, isn't it, that he's praying to the same God, and his God controls everything. So his God has allowed Sharon to have a heart attack and be in a critical condition, and he's praying to the same God to make her better.
Jones, are you familiar with that? There's a movie that was just released called Soul Surfer about this girl who had her arm bitten off, and she's a devout Christian, and she constantly says, I thank God for giving me the opportunity to continue to surf and fulfill my dreams, but she doesn't hate him for cutting off her arm in the first place.
Yes, and you have accounts of this all the time, but for some reason, God has got a serious problem healing amputees. He'll heal other people of innocuous problems.
Yeah, general malaise.
But for some reason, he draws a line with amputees. It's like, don't bother with amputees. You don't deserve your limbs. I gave you life. I don't know. I mean, he genuinely does work in mysterious ways.
DPR, it's the same with homeopathy. It's the same with talismans. It's the same with Reiki. None of these are able of curing amputees. So maybe God's behind all of them. Maybe.
If you remember Venom Fang X's video, God never said he would heal. He never said he would heal amputees. So he doesn't have to heal amputees. So
but no matter how hard they pray.
Yeah, no matter how hard. No, doesn't matter. God didn't say he would heal amputees. So, and this is directly quoted from a Venom Fang X video. He says,
and in the same video, in the self same video. He says we don't deserve to live. This is a sort of mentality and morality. Nobody deserves to live.
Yeah, what a loving God.
Yeah, but this is what religion does to people's minds, and he's been quite genuine, and I have no doubt genuinely believes this.
It's also
It's
worth,
frightening.
I mean, again, not trying to be insensitive, but another of Nephilim Free's friends, the Stigmadine, has just had his house burned down. So the Christians don't seem to be having a great time at the moment.
By the way, that picture is extremely
whether it's
disturbing.
one final test of faith or not, but he produced a video saying, "Look, this is the only thing that survived my house fire, and it's his mother's Bible." But then he also admits later in the video that his ID card also survived, which kind of invalidates the point slightly. And again,
Well, that makes it somewhat worse, doesn't it? Because God obviously was. If the Bible was the only thing that was saved, then God presumably, what the message that he's trying to convey is that God was looking after the Bible. So yeah,
Instead
he
of
wasn't
him.
bothered about the entire house burning down.
No.
But God, my book, that book that King James wrote for me, I'm not having that burnt. The rest of it, go to ashes. Not bothered about that.
I just thought it was a shame
Not my
that
biography though.
just a shame that nothing useful was saved. Is all I can say.
It gets even better with the Stigmadane. He actually answered my question on it. He retracted the statement that his ID card survived fire as the magnetic strip melted and didn't work anymore.
So after saying that his ID card also survived, he then said, no, it didn't survive actually.
Yeah.
I have this
And
friend.
then
that
not
I-
mentioning the damage it did to the Bible.
Yeah, I have this friend. I don't know her personally, but I play this Asian board game with her online. And she was telling me this story about why she believes in God and Jesus and things like that. She said that she was riding in a car one day with her family, her mother and father. I can't remember if there was a little sister there too, but I think there was another sibling there. But they were riding in the car one day and they got in a car accident. And when I think her parents were scraped up, and but the girl my friend was not hurt, and when she asked herself why she wasn't hurt, she noticed that when the car was impacted on the other car, there was a handkerchief fell on top of her, and she opened up the handkerchief, and it said Jesus on it.
Oh my God, no.
I said, don't you think that's proof, Jill T? I said, no, I don't. It is not. It is not.
It's so pathetic. It's so pathetic.
I've just had a
these people
thought. I might have to ask the Stigmadine for a small sample of his Bible to see whether it's printed on asbestos paper, because that might explain why it didn't burn up in the fire.
It's so pathetic to me that these people grasp at straws. They're trying to grasp at anything to prove their religion. Oh, look, my Bible didn't burn in the fire that took the rest of my fucking house.
This napkin that said Jesus hurt my parents, but not me. Oh God, this dog.
James,
When did our
Sorry, that's my
get
dog.
here?
It's all right, he's gone now.
Okay.
Yeah, all I can imagine, the only thing that would make that story even better is if she then got, I don't know, took short in the woods or something, didn't have any toilet paper and was forced to use the napkin with the word Jesus written on it.
That would have been amazing.
It would have been a nice ending to the story, but yes, my dog is a hellhound. The end times are near, repent, etc.
God's had enough of your heathenism, and he's come to take you straight to hell.
No, I have a question for DPR Jones, if I'm allowed to ask.
I'm not the boss, but carry on.
DPR Jones, how does light pass through glass?
Well, that's
Come
an
on.
interesting question, and I'm glad you asked it.
I think
There
it's
are a number of
absorbed by-
explanations, but the explanations that I've heard do rely on what I would say was sort of like high school level understanding. That is to say, you've got to imagine the electrons as specific dots moving in specific sort of like concentric levels of energy around the center of the atom. And of course, once you go beyond high school, you realize that isn't true. But the way the argument is put forward is that the energy of the light waves is not sufficient to knock the electron into one of the higher energy states, and therefore it just passes through. But as I say, I think that's acceptable on one level, but it gets a bit less satisfying when you realize that once you've gone through that high school sort of stage of being taught what an electron is, and you realise that it isn't a dot moving around.
Why is it refracted, the light?
I don't actually know the answer to that one, but yeah, DPR, you are close enough, and essentially that is true. Except the only thing is that the solar system model of the universe, as taught at high school, is wrong. They don't move in concentric circles. They actually have some fairly bizarre. In fact, my YouTube logo, actually has on it a picture of a real electron orbital. You can see there's all weird and wonderful shapes. But yeah, that is essentially
the quantum mechanics version, right?
It's whether or not the light has the right amount of energy to promote an electron to a higher energy state or not. Everything is transparent to some wavelength of radiation. For instance, your fingers are transparent to X-rays.
Yeah, so, and walls are transparent to radio waves, and that's not a problem. But my problem with what I'm saying is that the explanations that I got as a result of those videos did sort of rely upon this. I think someone just mentioned it, the Bohr model of, spheres or whatever, energy states. But as I say, we know that's just a way of us trying to understand it. Because after that, you learn that electrons aren't a little dot. They're sort of like a fuzzy sort of state. And, you fire them towards a double slit, and they're certainly not identifiable as particles. And it also doesn't explain the immediacy of the interaction between the electron and the light wave, and how does the light wave or the electron know that it doesn't have enough energy? I know using the word "know" is totally inappropriate, but I think it's a reasonably good answer that I was given. But
yeah,
I'm just too thick to understand. I think that's probably the real answer.
Just see if I can send a picture to Colin, just because I think this is interesting, to show you what real electron orbitals look like, because they're not concentric circles. They're all kinds of weird and wonderful shapes.
I wish people would reply to my videos so I could start, saying like, please delete all the videos you have of me, because I love my family. Please.
Hey, DPR.
Hello.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure whether you're still here. Is there any way you can talk about what's happening in September?
Yeah, sure. Do you want to?
Well, we're about ready to wrap up, so why not?
But yeah, if you want to take a few minutes.
Oh, yeah. There's another charity event for MSF over the weekend of the 17th of September, 17th and 18th of September. We've already got some interesting guests from outside YouTube lined up, which include philosopher A.C. Grayling, Lawrence Krauss, James Randi, Matt Delahanty, and I'm missing someone out. So those are the outside YouTube people. We've also got some the usual suspects and some new faces from YouTube itself. We're trying to do a little bit sort of like better production this year, and things sort of like beforehand would include the setting up of a web page, which CS Bear has very kindly agreed to do for me. Oh. So he's working away on that. I think we've got a Facebook page, although I'm not entirely sure how effective that's going to be.
Yeah, I got to help you set that up.
Well, I've set up a Facebook account, but I've not done anything with it. Book early to avoid disappointment. It'll be taking place, say, weekend 17th, 18th of September.
Now, you said the usual suspects would be there. Does that mean that we can be sure that Kaiser Sose will be there?
No, but Hayden Panettiere will be there.
Really?
Reference.
So the real Hayden this time.
No. I'm just trying to think. Where's my? No, I know I've missed someone. Oh, I know who I've missed off. I'm hoping that we will be able to persuade Richard Dawkins to take part.
Oh.
But I suspect that that may take the form of a pre-recorded interview as opposed to.
If you can't get Richard Dawkins to do it, you could try to persuade me. I'll
certainly consider that.
Can I just say, DPR, one of my earliest and I think my most watched videos is a video that I've edited together supposedly of Dawkins watching Nephilim Freeze videos and calling him a dumbass. I would like, given the opportunity, to simulate that scenario for real. So whether or not you could put in a word and say, would you mind sitting and watching 10 minutes of crap, and have your reaction recorded, I would be very grateful.
I don't think...
Given his age, I think he'd have an aneurysm.
I think it could be entertaining. But that's all I'm going to ask.
Well,
I'd say you don't have to, but I would...
I'm hoping that I won't lose the power of speech when I meet him. But no, I mean he's obviously very busy, and as I say, I think the best I'm likely to get out of is and this don't take this the wrong way. If I can get a quiet hour in a hotel room with him, then
oh, sorry, I took it the wrong way.
Then that's probably as much as we can get out of him. I don't know. We might get a few signed books out of him as well. And given the fact that he's done public debates with A.C. Grayling, and I know he knows him. He's had Lawrence Krauss at his Richard Dawkins lectures, also done public discussions with him. He's obviously well aware of James Randi and knows him personally, and has also recently got to know Matt Dillahunty. If I approach him on the basis, look, I've got all of these people, do you want to come along as well? I think it's a bit more leverage than if I say, I've got a couple of people from YouTube coming on. So I'm optimistic that we'll get something out of him. The only people who have turned me down so far have been Stephen Fry, boo hiss. I mean, if he wants his career to go down the pan by not appearing on my show, that's a matter for him. And
I tried to book Stephen Fry once for something. He never does anything. It's not fair.
Dara O'Brien was the other one that has said no, but I think I'm going to... Oh, Stephen Fry may be sending me a signed book. I'm not sure. But the trouble is, with Stephen Fry and Dara O'Brien, you're working through agents. With all the others, I managed to contact them directly. So
the agents usually say... the agents usually say no as the automatic response. So
could you get Stephen Fry to send me something from Hugh Laurie? That'd be fucking awful.
Well, to be honest, if anyone wants to send off emails to anyone saying, do you want to give something for this eBay auction for charity, then feel free. Obviously, I've only got so much time I can put into it. But,
did you ever hear back from... I'm sorry, did you ever hear back from Ken Miller?
No, not a thing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the other thing, the other person I have not heard back from yet is Ray Comfort.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, because if he does respond and is prepared to do it, we're going to set up an hour's debate between him and Aaron, which I think could get a few viewers along. But I did make it clear in the email that I would expect him to do some sort of publicity or promotion for the event and not seek to make money out of it for himself. And maybe those two things have sort of like meant that he's not that interested.
Oh, hey, DPR. Good news. That little kid that you had on your on last week's Magic Sandwich, you know him as the purple turtle. He is no longer...
Honestly, that was not deliberate. I'm dyslexic.
I know.
I know.
I wasn't saying it was. I'm just joking. But he is no longer a young Earth creationist.
Oh, really?
In the past week, he put out a video saying that he's going to pursue a career in science and he's going to take where the evidence takes him. And as far as he can now see, young Earth creationism does not have as much evidence supporting him.
He's still a Christian, but he is a God created everything through evolution Christian.
Yeah, he's a theistic evolutionist, I think they're often called, but he's certainly not a young Earther anymore.
We got about a minute left, guys.
Wow. Okay, a minute left. I'll leave and let you finish off. But thanks very much for having me on.
You can stay around for the end of the show if you like, DPR.
All right, well, I'll just leave
you are pretty much a member of the team after being in the call with Neffy. But so thank you for everyone for listening. I'd like to thank the panel this week. Blue Juggernaut, who's been largely silent. I think he now has passed out from alcohol intoxication.
Drinking.
Thank you. No, he's back. He's woken up in a pool of his own vomit. Okay. Thank you to CS Bear.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks.
Say goodbye. Thank you to Dutch Liam84.
I haven't said a word the entire show. So.
Yes, you have.
So.
I haven't really said anything interesting.
Thank you to Ellie5 1991.
Woo!
Yoshimo 1.
Yay.
Thank you to our special guest for the week, Chill T.
You're welcome.
And thank you to DPR Jones for calling in, and Colin Masson, who as ever is doing the technical wizardry.
And he is awesome.
We are going to be back in 2 weeks' time with 2 hours of live coverage of the day of the rapture, so you don't want to miss that one.
Shit, it's coming up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on the day of the next show, the 21st. So.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So we will be
also mention that the Westboro Baptist Church is coming to a city that's about 20 minutes away from my town, and at the end of the month.
Go film it.
I'll do that.
So
Troll the heck out of them.
Join us next week when we'll be analysing to see whether or not the rapture is happening, and if so, what we should do about it, or whether or not it's too late. So
drink beer.
Drink beer is probably going to be a good choice. It's going to be the biggest party in the world if it is happening. So thank you all, and I hope to see you in 2 weeks' time.
See you later.
See ya.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.